Come on. So you could, whenever you're ready.
Ready? Here comes the clap.
Brilliant.
That's blown your mic. Good evening, Slough Writers. Richard James here. For those of you who haven't written a play before, and who might be thinking of entering the summer competition to write your very short 10-minute play, I thought I might give you a few tips on formatting and content which might help you to write your play. If you remember, the theme that we've chosen is the photograph. We've asked you to write a 10-minute play on a theme of the photograph, featuring as many cast members as you want. But we've recommended that it should be 2 or more. I'm not going to be obsessive about the layout of your script, as long as it's clear to me who is speaking, and if they have any movement, where they're moving to, and what is on the stage with them, I'd be happy with that. So I'm judging your play from the point of view of the story you're telling me, and anything you can do to make that story clearer is going to help. Just to reiterate some points from the meeting when I last saw you about some ideas for your play, try and incorporate perhaps more than a couple of characters. A two-hander is fine, I'd be very happy to see two-handers, but what's often interesting when you get a third character is that they can upset the status quo. And that's interesting, that becomes drama, that becomes conflict. So rather than just a straight duologue, suddenly you get something else being injected which might spark off a reaction in either of the other two or both of the characters currently on the stage. Think about conflict, that's really important. Even in a 10-minute play, which might only be 10, 12, 13 pages long, it's really going to be quite boring if everyone on that stage gets on like a house on fire. You might start it that way, but something's got to happen. There's got to be some drama, some conflict that makes it interesting. So two characters on a bench isn't very interesting if they just simply talk for 10 minutes. But one of those characters maybe has a secret, and they're joined by a third character who knows their secret. Suddenly that's interesting. How will that character with the secret react to the third character that's just joined them that knows their secret? How will he transmit to that character not to tell the chap on the bench next to them? So think about conflict, because that's where drama lies. Also, something I mentioned before is what's stopping your characters simply getting up and walking away. So take our scenario of 2 or 3 characters sitting on a park bench. What's to stop one of them simply going, well, I've had enough, I'm out of here? What keeps them there? What keeps them engaged with the other character enough to stay without simply walking out? Think economy. That's really, really important in a 10-minute play. Every word has got to earn its living. What you might want to do first is overwrite. In other words, you know you've got to write 10, 12, 13 pages, but just write your idea. It may take 20 pages, it may be a 20, 25 minute, 30-minute play when you've finished to tell your story, and then start thinking about paring it back. What can go? Are there whole characters there that aren't bringing anything to your play? If they're not there to serve a purpose, to move the story on, or illuminate something about the plot or themselves, they can go. They're not important. Likewise, dialogue. Really pare down each line of dialogue. If you have lots of wells and ers and I means and so on, that's fine if that's what your character says, if that's how they talk. But is that just you writing the way you speak? Can you pare down that line of dialogue to make it really succinct and say only what you mean it to say? Be very careful as well that each new character speaks with their own rhythm and in their own way. It's very tempting to write every character speaking as you, the writer, speak. So think about the different ways in which we speak, the different paces, different pauses, different punctuation. And that will give colour to the play as well, if each character has a different way of speaking. And what else can we say about writing a play? It's over when it's over. So although I say write a 20, 30-minute play and then cut it down, actually try and make your story fit that 10 minutes. It's not going to be a Russian epic. It's not going to be a sci-fi space opera. Not in 10 minutes. It might be a little corner of one of those stories, So there might be a space battle happening off stage, and we might focus in on these 2 or 3 little characters standing guard outside the Galaxy Emperor's throne room, and there you have a little play between them. So these small plays can take place in front of great, historic, sweeping backdrops, but we can't really afford to see those great battles in 10 minutes. If you have any questions at all, I have to be careful, of course, as I'm judging. I can't help you with your plot and so on and content, but if you have any questions about format, then please feel free to drop me an email. You can email me very easily at richard@richardjamesonline, which is all one word, .com. richard@richardjamesonline.com. But finally, perhaps the most important thing is to read some plays. Go to your local library. It could be by anybody. It could be an old play, it could be a modern play. That's not really relevant. Just take it home and just read it. Doesn't matter if you enjoy it or not, in a way, but just look at the way it's formatted. Look how clear the playwright makes it to you when a character enters, maybe what type of character they are, when they're speaking, and what they're doing when they're not speaking. Because silence is also very important. At the beginning of A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare, there's a whole scene where Aegeus brings his daughter to see the Duke Theseus, and he complains that his daughter isn't going to marry the man that he has chosen for him. And throughout all this scene, Hippolyta, the Duke's wife, says nothing. She says nothing for the whole scene. She starts off talking, and then Aegeus brings his daughter in, and she says nothing for the rest of the scene. And I think that's not Shakespeare simply forgetting the character. It's a clue that something is going on. Why doesn't she speak? Why doesn't she interject? So if you have a character that hasn't spoken for a long time, I'm going to start thinking, why hasn't he said anything? Has the playwright simply forgotten about this character? Or is there something more going on? And it's in those sort of ambiguous spaces that the reader or the audience create their own drama. But you have to mean it. It can't be accidental. You can't just bring a character on and then forget about them for the next 8 pages. If they're being quiet, I want to know why they're being quiet. And very often silence says lots. If you have a 2 or 3-hander or 4-hander and one character just drops a word in every now and then, that tells me something about that character. So there are all sorts of clues you can pick up by simply reading a play. That's it. You have until September the 22nd, I believe, so you have a good few weeks over the summer to write a 10-minute play, 10 or 12 pages. I don't know, that might take me 3 or 4 days. So allow yourself a week for the actual writing of it. A couple of weeks to think about it, a week to write it, and a week to edit it. Chop it down, have a look at it again, put it away for a few days, forget about it, and then bring it out. Only when you're absolutely happy, submit it. Because once you've done that, there's no going back. So don't finish your last word, full stop, and email it. Put it away in a drawer if you've got the time. If you've got a couple of weeks to go, put it away and forget about it. And then come back to it a few days, a week later, take another look, see if anything leaps out, seeing if you've forgotten anything or any little things you could change to make it a better play. Good luck. I look forward to reading them, and I look forward to seeing you again in September when we'll announce, I think, November I think it is, when I see you next, having had a chance to read them all, when we announce the winners. And I really look forward to reading them. I know you can do it. Good luck.